Welcome to Contemplative Living, where we view contemplations for the week to have a better understanding of our spiritual paths. This is Contemplative Living with Dave Bennett.
Hello, and welcome to another Contemplative Living, where we talk about concepts to bring contemplative living into everyday life. I was reading an article about Stoic living, and I really do admire the Stoics. And they have this concept, discipline of will. How do you endure and survive? The Stoics have this concept, amore fati, which is embracing everything that has happened. And so today I want to talk about fear and anxiety and how it finds its way into our life. But then, how do we embrace everything that has happened and move forward? So it's an interesting concept, and that's where we're going to explore today. So let's get started. Fear separates our mind from spirit. While we fear, we are unable to trust our divine nature. I find this is so true. When we allow fear to, become the prominent presence in our being, we lose sight of the present moment. We lose sight of our divine essence, because the fear can become overwhelming. And when we allow that seed of fear in, it grows. And it's interesting because, even those people that you and I would perceive as fearless, they have moments of anxiety. They have moments of fear where little seeds of fear get in, and they deal with it. What's different between them and I is they move forward. They continue to move forward, even though they may have some fear and even though they may have some anxiety. They continue to move forward. They forged ahead. And that's one of the keys to overcoming the fear, is to not allow the fear to separate your mind from your spirit, and allow your spirit of adventure, allow your spirit of being who you are to continue to forge forward. That helps us to overcome fear and to be who we are, instead of allowing fear to dictate who we are. We can never develop an enduring sense of security and strength by defending and fortifying ourselves against the unknown. The unknown can be this beast. It can be this incredible beast that we manifest that can scare the daylights out of us. And depending upon the situations in life, it's amazing how, and then we'll be backing off, we'll be stepping back because that beast has become so overwhelming that we just can't deal with it. Well, and so what do? We create these walls. We fortify ourselves, right? I had a friend once who had just come through a very, very nasty separation, and we went out to breakfast, and I said, well, now that you're past all of that, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, well, I have to maintain my defense, because I'm fearful. He didn't say he was fearful, but because it may come back again, and it's like, wait a minute. You're done with it. It's settled. It was settled in a court of law, actually. And so, it's over. You don't need to keep the lawyers on retainer. Sometimes it's our fear of what maybe something we've just gone through, or the fear, of just, because we've just come through. Like, okay, one of my fears, let's be honest here, is that my cancer is going to return. I went through a horrible session of cancer with stage 4 lung and bone cancer, and my spine collapsed and all of that, and it was an incredible period of suffering. And every year I have to go back to the oncologist, and I have to, face the tests. Is it what's going on? Is it still there? Is it coming back? What's the issue? And so I have to embrace that stoic concept of amor fati, where I embrace everything that has happened. That happened, but I no longer need to keep those defenses up. I can move forward. If we feel weak and insecure, our fear will remain manifesting in anger, frustration, and anxiety. Turn it around with empowerment. That's kind of what I was just talking about, is, again, it's that fear is that misty feeling off in the distance that, okay, what could be, or what has been could return, that sort of thing. So when we use empowerment, we tap into our heart center, and we tap into our inner strength, because that's where empowerment really comes from. That's who we really are, is that inner peace, that inner knowing, that inner strength that brings us to a place where we can manifest, instead of anger, frustration, and anxiety, we can manifest the strength to forge ahead, to move forward. We don't need to be immobile. We don't need to be frozen in anxiety. We can move ahead, but we have to tap into that inner fortitude that is there, that is not a wall, but instead is a reservoir of energy that can help us propel ourselves into a future, and not have to be so fearful, not totally fearless, because, fear does have a place, but to be able to move ahead. Inner security and strength can give us the feeling of real safety and empowerment, and the empowerment we're looking for. So empowerment is what we really seek to overcome the fear, because with utilizing the our own inner strength gives us the opportunity to be that watchful wisdom, that sentinel on the hill that can see the circumstances around us, and we rise above the circumstances, and we can then see clearly that there really wasn't a need for fear. That sometimes we perceive these beasts, we perceive these misty phantoms, because it's unknown, and we're trying to move forward into something that's unknown. So this is where empowerment allows us to rise above the circumstances and understand that, oh, that's just my inner fear that's trying to take over. That's fine. It's to have a sense of fear to protect us is important and is empowering, but we don't want to have it be that immobilizing sense that can keep us from being who we really are. So, like I was just saying, freedom from fear comes from the silent self we experience when we are living in the present. So there are a whole variety of fears that live in the past or worry about the future. When we disable that, then we're living in the present, and those fears can no longer affect us. They have no hold on us. And that's a great starting point. And then you can deal with the present fears. Okay. In today's society, we have a lot of negative programming that it bombards us on a regular basis. And so create some tools that allow you to negate that negativity. I have this black tourmaline pendant that I wear. It's a nice way to absorb the negativity around you. You could just have a piece of black tourmaline in your pocket or in your purse, and just carry it around with you and allow it to absorb some of that negativity so that it doesn't touch you and spark that center of fear that resides in all of us. We all have anxiety and fear, but it's how we deal with it, how much we allow it to control our life that's important. So freedom from fear comes from that silent self, you know, and when we're living in the present, when we have a practice that allows us to touch that silent self within each and every one of us, it gives us that strength. It brings that strength up, and it overshadows the fear that may reside. Oops, thought I clicked that off. We can embrace uncertainty from a place of inner security and harness its creative potential. Using our creative potential does give us another tool to combat our own anxieties. Hi, Janet. Glad to see you here and glad you could join us this morning. So we can embrace uncertainty, because a lot of times it's that uncertainty, that unknowing that we were just talking about, that tends to bring up anxiety within us. The unknown, it can be kind of scary. But when we harness our creative nature, and where does our creative nature come from? It comes from a sense of wonder. It comes from a sense of exploring. So when we tap into that, we want to explore a certain new facet in our life. We're moving in a new direction. We're changing location. We're moving to a new town. We're taking on a new job. All of these things create that level of uncertainty. And hi, William, glad you could join us. And so those types of circumstances, that uncertainty of where am I going and how is it going to turn out, all of those questions, if we instead embrace it with a sense of wonder and our creative nature, then we become explorers. Okay, let's see where it takes us. And also it allows us to then start beginning to the concept of allowing life to unfold and to embrace it and to squeeze all the juice out of life. Because when we come from that place, that's empowerment. That's empowerment, to be able to squeeze all the juice out of life and look forward to how it's going to unfold, even though we're uncertain as to what the future holds for us. Whoops. So even in the midst of fear and anxiety, we have the creative capacity to meet the situation and use it for our personal development. development and growth. So, like I was saying, we can use our creative nature and that sense of wonder to stand up and to face our anxiety. I like this picture because this little guy is, he is standing up. He has become this pillar with, uncertainty all around him, and with it threatening to crush him. And yet he is standing firm. This is how, when you live in a sense of wonder, when you live in a sense of empowerment, you stand up and allow yourself to be who you are and move forward, and without a sense of fear and anxiety, and allow that to be the empowerment that makes you that person that appears fearless to others. But you still have those thoughts of anxiety, you still have those thoughts of fear, but yet you soldier on, you continue to move forward in your life. But you do it with a sense of joy, you do it with a sense of wonder, and that allows you to continue forward. Now, we all have negative situations. We all have, those sorts of things that are around us all the time. Especially this year, or this past year, and this year, the beginning of this year, we just have a lot of negativity and a lot of polarization that is pulling us from one side to the other. And so we can't allow that. We have to embrace everything that has happened. And by being in that state of embracing everything that has happened, we are empowered. We become that fearless person that's moving forward in our lives. And so develop a discipline of will that allows you to forge ahead. And I hope there may have been some things here that help you to overcome maybe some anxiety that you're having. And you're able to deploy that in your life in this coming weeks. All right. Thank you, and namaste.